Hello and welcome. So in today's video, I just want to have a little conversation about the new version of Showmax and the issues I have noticed and what I have seen people complain about it. I've had access to the new version of Showmax for a few weeks now and have noticed a lot of issues. The biggest issue I have noticed starts from the biggest feature that Showmax has been bragging about, and that is the Peacock platform. So the Peacock platform is simply a streaming platform developed by NBC Universal in the United States of America. NBC Universal is a media conglomerate. It's a media giant company that owns a lot of media resources. And one of the things they did was to develop their own streaming platform to compete with Netflix and Amazon Prime Video. So Peacock is a whole platform on its own, and I feel that one of the ways that Showmax thought they could grow into the future and hold their market in the African region was to partner with NBC Universal so that they could, by default, have access to a platform that could compete favorably with Netflix and Prime Video, instead of them developing theirs from scratch or continuing to develop Showmax. I believe Showmax had some developers in Poland or somewhere else in Eastern Europe back in the day that helped them to develop the former version of Showmax. And Showmax had dissolved this team or had pulled out of a lot of markets outside Africa. So I feel that their future relied on them having to partner with a giant, with an established giant that could add value to what they have. So that is why they went to NBC Universal, or NBC Universal came to them, whatever the internal deal is. I don't have access to that. So either way, that is why this Peacock platform is a big deal. Now, the difference is that the two platforms are not integrated, or they are not the same, because they were developed differently by different teams over a different period of time. So I feel that it was very challenging for Showmax to migrate a lot of stuff from the old platform to the new Peacock platform that they just had access to. One of the effects of this is that the only thing that they seem to have transferred from the old to the new was the login details. So you're going to receive an email when you can have access to the new Showmax if you haven't already, and the email would include a link that will direct you to the new platform. Now, when you log into the new platform, it recognizes your email address and your password from the old Showmax platform, and that is where it ends. From then on, it's as if one is starting from scratch. Nothing is the same. The first thing you notice is that the profiles are not transferred from the old to the new platform. For example, so let's say you were sharing Showmax with your family in the same household. You had your own account, you had another profile for your spouse or for your children. On the new platform, you realize that there's only two profiles, account owner and guests or something like that. So the profiles are not transferred. All the preferred settings from the old platforms are not transferred to the new platform. Another thing I noticed was not transferred was the watch history. So if you had any preferred shows, let's say you had like 10 seasons of whatever you were watching, and you've got to a particular point, you've got to season 3, episode 21, all those kind of stuff were not transferred. So you now have to find your shows on the new platforms and hopefully remember where you got to on the old platform and continue watching from there, which I think is very inconvenient. But then again, like I explained earlier, I think because the two platforms are not very compatible, that would have influenced why it was difficult for them to migrate these settings to the new platform. So another thing that wasn't migrated was the curated my list. So on your profile, you might have access to create your own list of preferred content that you are currently watching or want to watch later. So you might have a list of whatever. So I had also noticed that these were not migrated to the new platform. Nothing, it was empty. So watch history, profiles, my lists in quotes, were not migrated. So it's like, it's as if you had signed up to Showmax for the first time. It's as if you had signed up to Showmax afresh. Nothing, clean slate, wiped. So another thing I noticed was not migrated was even the payment instrument. So if you had added a card to your Showmax account to be charged regularly, or you were paying by whatever means, it wasn't migrated either. I'm now receiving email reminding me to re-add my payment instrument into the new Showmax platform so they can continue charging me, which I also consider to be very inconvenient. These reasons are why people are complaining a lot online about the new Showmax. So another thing is that usually when big companies want to push people to a new thing, they usually make it optional and they make the two platforms coexist for months. So for example, they could say, okay, preview, if you want to have access to the new platform, you can, and at the same time you can reverse to the old platform and so on. But in this case, this was not an option, and this made it a little more inconvenient to the extent that, so once you join the new platform, there's no way of going back to the old platform, or maybe staying on the old platform for a few more months till they make it unavailable completely. But these are part of the issues that people have been complaining about. Now, another thing is that the new Showmax is not compatible with some devices, with some TV models, and so on and so on. It seems like it's only compatible with newer models of TVs. This issue is not so common with devices like iPads and Android devices, but even then, it still applies to some extent. But more importantly, it's not compatible with some older models of devices. I don't have a list of what it is compatible with, but just be aware that if the device is considered too old, it might not work with the new Showmax. So, all the same, it's not all bad news. The new Showmax is better, in the sense that, for example, on the old one, the highest resolution of video was 720p. On the new one, it's 1080p, which is a little clearer, a little more detailed with the content. So you can notice that the image is sharper on your screen. Even though I believe that the Peacock platform itself is capable of supporting 4K, but this time Showmax is not supporting content in 4K. There's a possibility that they might do this in future, because in South Africa, 4K is available on Netflix, 4K is available on Amazon Prime or Prime Video, and these are the two main competitors that Showmax is contending with in Africa. So one can only imagine or expect that they would support 4K content in the near future. At the same time, generally speaking, the new Peacock platform is better. It's more technologically advanced, so that is a plus. And I have also noticed more content, in the sense that NBC Universal was supposed to supply them with more content, not just the Peacock platform. Sky in the UK is also supposed to support them with more content in order to make the Showmax platform a more credible competition for Netflix and Prime Video. So hopefully, if the content consumers are eventually able to get over these teething challenges initially, able to find their feet later, then people would have forgotten about these little challenges and continue enjoying the new platform. So that's about it for now. If you want, you can watch a video I made a few weeks ago about the migration to the new platform. Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe, like this video, and share. Cheers.